right, so we're live. We're about 3 minutes early, and I would love it as you're coming on to just let us know you're here. You can chat wherever you are. If you're on Facebook, you can put your name or hello in the comments box. And if you're on YouTube, go ahead and chat in the live chat. So Karyn, welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. It's an
For
honor
those,
to be here.
yes, and for those of you who have never met Karyn, this is my good friend and longtime friend and colleague, Karyn Chabot from Newport, Rhode Island, and it's just a pleasure to have you here. We've been talking about doing something together online for a long time, and this was an opportunity to do this and an opportunity to really be of service to those of you who are stuck at home, who are dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic, having your own stresses and challenges. And Karyn is an Ayurvedic health counselor, and she actually has her own online training program for that as well. She is a teacher to her soul. She's also a massage therapist, which is how we met. And she's here to share her wisdom today about Ayurveda and how it pertains, how you can work with the principles of Ayurveda to keep yourself well and healthy and find your balance in these unusual and unbalanced times. So, Karyn, do you want to fill in the introduction and tell us a little bit about Ayurveda and where you're going to take us today?
Sure. So let's begin with, what is Ayurveda? Well, Aryu means span of life, and Veda means wisdom. So this is life's wisdom. And it's a science of longevity. And it's recognized by the World Health Organization as one of the 3 top medical systems in the world. First one being allopathy, second one being traditional Chinese medicine, and the third one being Ayurveda. So it's a full science, a true science, holistic science, body, mind, spirit. And today I would like to share with you some of the protocols to manage and prevent anxiety and fear, uncertainty, because we're all facing that right now. But I would like to preface that the modalities I'm going to be sharing with you for how to boost your immunity and how to relieve yourself from so much fear and anxiety are not necessarily for people who are not in fear and anxiety. So this is very specific demographic of people who are in trauma, because if you haven't lost your job and you still have money flowing in, maybe you're working at home and not going out, and there's been some changes in your life, but not massive changes, then you would really want to be working with the season. We do seasonal protocols for people like that, because every season there's a different protocol. And this season isn't the protocol for anxiety and fear. It's usually in the fall where people will experience, or there's an affinity for fear and anxiety. And we would give protocols in the fall for what I'm going to share with you today. So figure out which demographic you're in, and all of this will help you because it's going to be educational. But yes, we can do a separate video together on the modalities for how to detoxify the winter season out of the body and move into spring, because those will be different.
So Karyn, it seems like as you're talking, what's coming to me is like we're sort of just turned around in our seasons and the time and the circumstances and all of that. So I'm really excited to see how you're going to present this protocol for trauma, because just having the wrong energy in the wrong season can mess you up. And and I'm sure that those who are watching now or are going to watch at a future time, welcome to those in the future, know someone who is in trauma. Like when you told me you wanted to talk about the trauma protocol, I could think of 1 or 2 people right off the top of my head who really need to hear this because they're in that circumstance that you described. So, and I know we have a lot of healers that follow me or on my channel, and those that you invited. So I'm so delighted that that you're here going to present this. And I want to, for the human design people here, because you may be wondering, what does Ayurveda have to do with human design? And maybe you already know, but part of our human design blueprint or our understanding of our energy through human design is rooted in the Hindu chakra system, which is very much, I mean, it was created as part of the Ayurvedic system. Is that right, Karyn?
Yes.
Yeah. So, so part of our charts really have their roots in Ayurveda, or in the system that is related, the part of the system that's related to the chakra system. So, at our we're going to like plug into the roots here. We're going to plug into the source of assistance for our well-being here today. So, so go ahead and continue, because I know that you have your own methods of sharing. So let me just close my mouth.
Okay, and feel free to interject if you have a question too. And if I go down a rabbit hole, just bring me back on track. But I'm going to be addressing trauma.
One more thing. If you have questions or comments, be sure to put them in the comment box, because Karyn will field your questions. Would love to know where, what your ideas are, the things that are coming up for you as this is going. So before she dives into it, I just want to make sure you know that you are welcome to put your comments in, put your questions in. We really want this to be an interactive experience for you. Okay, now go.
Okay, so before I begin talking about the trauma protocols, I have two websites, and the one that you see is KarynChabot.com. You can get to my sister website through that site, but you could also go directly to SacredStoneHealing.com. And at the SacredStoneHealing.com website is my Ayurveda online health counselor program. It's a 7-month and a 12-month program online. If you want to learn more, as well as you can get a consultation with me online if you wanted to just explore your own individual constitution and how to address your own individual needs. And I have my master's degree in Ayurvedic medicine, as well as, and I studied with Sandy actually in quantum touch. And she was the best teacher, energy medicine teacher I've ever had, and I've had a lot. So she and I just go back a long time. Mm-hmm. So, and I'm so happy to be here with you, Sandy. So let's talk about, are you in the demographic of trauma? Are you experiencing full-blown, oh my God, what am I going to do? Because if you're in that category, then what I'm going to share with you will apply to you. If you're not, and you're just kind of, slightly affected, and there's been some transitions in your life, because transitions cause trauma. When there's too much change and it's 180 degree, then that's when we become derailed. So if you haven't had a massive trauma and you're just sort of in the mainstream and you're cooking along and income stream is the same, and only some things have been affected, then there's a whole nother video series for you and protocols for you. But if you really have lost your job and your shop is closed, or your restaurant is closed, or whatever it is, you have no income, and how are you going to pay your mortgage? Well, yes, that's severe trauma. So let me give you some suggestions for how to boost your immunity and do daily, what we call dinacharya, which is Sanskrit for routine lifestyles that will help you feel safe, grounded, and more at peace. So first thing I would like to talk about is structure, a daily structure. So if we don't have structure outside, and the government isn't telling us what to do, and everything is mayhem and chaos, then what we need to do is take it internally and create our own structure. Wake up in the morning at the same time, if you possibly can, every day, and you'll do whatever it is you do. You scrape your tongue, brush your teeth. You might do your shower, evacuate the bowels, have some light breakfast, and maybe you do your meditation and prayer. Gratitude will be a great way to pray, actually, by stating the things that you're grateful for, at least 3 things every morning. And then there's some pranayama is alternate nostril breathing. There are some breathing techniques that will help ground you. So you can Google how to do pranayama, or just Google alternate nostril breathing on YouTube, because it's a big, I don't want to take this whole video teaching you that, but you basically do alternate nostril inhale, exhale. And this will clear the channels in your body, and do them at least 12 times, left side, right side, 12 times. And that will ground the whole body. And if you want to do a little yoga after all this, after you do your routine, you can structure your routine the way you want. If you want to do yoga first, then your meditation is going to be individual. But what I ask is you keep it structured for you, whatever fits in your, however it feels best to you. Best yoga for trauma is on the ground. So not standing, because it's too much in the air. So we want you to feel as grounded as possible. And to feel as grounded as possible, we want to feel the entire body on the ground. So lay down and do your stretching when you're on your soft yoga mat, not a hard floor, and go slowly. And it should be more restorative than sweating. So, maybe glisten, if you want to break a sweat, and then stop there, because if you're overdoing, then you lose valuable minerals and ojas, which is a principle I'll talk about later. But by just doing restorative, gentle yoga, this will actually bring your body into homeostasis, that balanced place where you feel grounded. So I recommend laying on the floor, lift your leg up, slowly bring it back down, do some spinal twists, drop your knees to the right and to the left, put your arms up to the right and to the left, very slowly moving in a circle to lubricate the joints. And then just let your body tell you what the next asana or pose would be that feels right. Follow your intuition, or go on YouTube and find a restorative, gentle yoga practice and do that every day for at least 10 minutes, if not an hour. I also recommend going on daily walks, and these walks should be immersions in nature so that you can feel more connected to the birds and the trees and the flowers, and you get your energy from nature. And as you're walking along, make it a walking meditation. So it's not a lot of jibber jabber or walking, talking. It's more peace and quiet and listening to the sounds of nature. And then you will have your lunch, and try to make that the same time every day. And your lunch should really consist of warm, soupy, soft, sauteed foods. Nothing raw, nothing crunchy, nothing hard or dry or rough. So the foods that go in the body should be soft, warm, and moist. So however you want that to be, however that looks for you, as long as you think about the attributes of your food. And if they are soft, warm, and unctuous is the word we use in Ayurveda, which I'd never heard of until I took my first Ayurveda class, but it's really descriptive of moist. So saute with ghee, which is clarified butter. Try to throw out all your other oils. Maybe avocado or coconut is acceptable, but ghee will soften your food. You can steam your food and cook your food with love, and even prayer. You can do a little mantra over your food, Om Namah Shivaya, or a little Hail Mary, or whatever it is that connects you to the divine, and make that food sacred as you're cooking. Stay in the moment with it, and try not to eat fast foods if you can help it. And then we have the rest of the day. You can do things that would be very grounding and affirmative. So reading books that will keep the mood elevated, being around people who make you laugh, watching funny movies, feeling safe, whatever it is that you feel safe. If you need to be near your cat, if you need to be with your puppy, whatever it is, holding your pet close to your heart as often as possible, because they are your best healers and they love you unconditionally. They'll make you feel grounded and they want to help you. So why not? Be with your pet as much as possible. And Be with loved ones. Try never to eat alone, because when we eat alone, we actually gulp air. And when you gulp air, the air goes in the body and disturbs ether and air elements, which is the wind factor in the body, causing more anxiety. So sit with someone you love if you can, and if not, then just be very mindful about each bite you take, not to swallow air. And if you need to, sit with your cat or your puppy. My cat actually sits right with me when I'm eating, watching my food, hoping I feed him. And I usually do give him a little something. I spoil this cat, but this cat is one of the best healers of my life. So he's taught me a lot. And then if we go into dinner time, it's same thing. Food should be unctuous, soft, warm. Try to avoid beans. Try to avoid things that are going to cause gas, the cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, cauliflower. Even though they're cooked, they are still cruciferous and cause gas and wind in the body. So what we're doing here is reducing the internal wind by feeding ourselves, because food is medicine, feeding ourselves foods that will soften and reduce any movement, because we've had enough movement, we've had enough change. We want to eat foods that are going to ground us. Lean toward root vegetables. Lean toward carrots, sweet potatoes. See if you can avoid nightshade vegetables, which are potatoes. Just, Idaho potatoes won't be so good. Avoid eggplant and mushrooms, except shiitake mushrooms don't have spores, so they aren't considered nightshade. Peppers, bell peppers. What else? Tomatoes. And strawberries. They are nightshade, and they can irritate the joints and cause pain in the body. But you can lean toward turnips and anything that grows close to the ground. Those root vegetables will be your best friends during times of trauma, and then make them warm and soft with ghee and some salt. And you can even add your spices to them, like ginger or black pepper.
Sounds like comfort food.
Yes, this is the time for comfort food. Now I'm going to share a recipe with you that you can have for dinner, and it's called khichdi. And khichdi is, and I'll send it to you. I actually should just post it somewhere. I don't know how to post or upload, but you can always email me and I'll send you the khichdi recipe. I might even put it on my Facebook timeline. That might be a good idea. And
send it to me, and I'll make sure it gets down. I'll figure out how to put it on the description. So anything that she refers to, I'm going to attempt to put it in the description of this replay. So you guys can have all of that. Yeah.
So as an overview of khichdi, khichdi is the food of the gods. It's an ancient recipe, 5,000 years old. Well, they say Ayurveda is about 5,000. Some people say 10,000. So this recipe goes way back, and it is the food that they monofast with when they're doing purification, as part of something they call panchakarma, which is Ayurveda's rejuvenation and purification regime that they do at the turn of every season. And it was originally reserved for the royalty. So I'm giving you the monofast for a very royal food that is very digestible, a complete protein, very balancing to all the doshas in the body. And when I say doshas, I never really prefaced what the doshas are. So just for a backup here, I'll come back to khichdi in a minute, but the doshas are Vata, Pitta, and Kapha, and they embody the 5 great elements: earth, ether, air, water, fire. And we're born with a certain preponderance of each of these 5 great elements associated with these doshas. And dosha means biological principle when you break the word down. So we all have these biological humors or principles within the body. So we don't look at disease as naming it like Alzheimer's or COVID, or we don't name it. We basically see disease as an imbalance of one of the 5 great elements in the body or in the earth. So we're addressing everyone very individually, because you were all born with a unique constitution, Ayurvedic constitution. And as we age, we make certain choices, have certain lifestyles, meet certain people, have relationships, and jobs that affect our constitution. And then we potentially could become imbalanced. And then when Ayurveda is working with bringing the body back into balance, we take considerations of the birth constitution and the current imbalance, and then we'll give protocols for that. So now that you understand Vata, Pitta, and Kapha, and the 5 great elements, you can understand that this khichdi that I'm talking about balances all 3 doshas. So, and you can make it specific to balance Pitta more, depending on you add more cilantro, or you want to balance more Kapha, which would be, you know, trying to lose weight, toxins, reducing fat, all these things. Then you would add more ginger, for example. But I'm going to give you a very balanced recipe that is just for everybody. And it's especially great for Vata because it brings you to balance. And it's khichdi is, I'm going to show you, I'm making some today, and I have the beans soaking. So it's very important to soak your beans overnight. They're mung dal beans. And this is what they look like, because beans in general, you should not be eating right now. These are the only beans that you can eat during a trauma situation, because these beans are highly digestible, and they're in water right now. I don't know if you can see it, but they're starting to sprout, actually. Am I going the right way? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so they're starting to sprout. They've been on my counter for, 24 hours, and I'm going to mix them in with some basmati white rice, not brown rice, because brown rice is too heavy. We want to combine it with white rice because the beans themselves are heavy. They have the quality of fiber and roughage. So there's a reason why they chose white basmati rice, because we're working with balancing. This recipe is all about bringing everything, all the qualities and attributes into balance. Then we put cilantro in, and coconut, and fresh ginger, and cumin, coriander, fennel, all ground up with ghee and lime, and what else? Salt. Basically, that's it. Now, you can, for Vata, for trauma, you can add sweet potato, which is super yummy in the khichdi. So that's your option if you want to. If you're trying to lose weight, then maybe up the ginger and reduce the cilantro, for example. So that is a really nice recipe that I try to do 2 or 3 times a week, just to boost my immune system, regulate my digestive tract. It cleans and purifies the body, and it's really easy to make. And I leave it on my stove so that I'll eat it all day. I have it for lunch and dinner. I don't usually eat it for breakfast, but you can. In the morning, I prefer to have a piece of fruit and eat lightly. Now, there's such a thing as telomeres, and I'm sort of jumping around here, but telomeres are the longevity principle in Western medicine that they've just discovered in this last decade. Ojas is another word for telomeres, believe it or not. Ayurveda knew about this thousands of years ago. So ojas is the principle of immunity and longevity. So to build our ojas is key right now. And how to build the ojas? Well, there are certain foods and certain things that you can actually do. And I'll give you some ojas precursor foods. So when you eat these foods, they actually turn into ojas in the body. And then ojas actually can be excreted through tears, reproductive fluid, and it lives in the heart. So I will I'll share those foods with you. Almonds, but peeled, soaked and peeled. The skins have lectins in them, which cause leaky gut syndrome. So take those skins off the almonds and soak them. You can make almond milk, or you can roast them in the oven with some salt, or just eat them plain, just for a little snack. Also, ghee is a precursor. So you can make your own ghee, which is just clarified butter. You bring the butter to a boil, and then you skim off the fat, and then that pure golden liquid at the bottom has no cholesterol in it, and has only the good fatty acids in it. So that's why it's so profound to be using ghee instead of olive oil, and throw your olive oil out. So the ghee is a precursor to ojas and milk, but not dairy type of milk that you buy at the store. This ojas, it's been overly processed, so the ojas is gone. So ojas really, the prana actually, which means life force, dies in 3 days after it's been extracted from a cow or a goat or sheep or whatever animal the milk comes from. So it only has the life for 3 days, and then it sits on the shelf. And if it's been processed and homogenized and all that, then we've lost so much prana and so much ojas that it's really hard to digest. So raw milk, and it's hard to find in some states, it's illegal, but if you can find raw milk, that's amazing ojas. And other foods, I have a whole list over here, and there's some wonderful things that you can do. But
is that the list that you sent me, Karyn?
No, I didn't send you the ojas list. I sent you the Vata pacifying modalities, which I'll review in a minute as well, which also will increase ojas, but specific modalities I'm going to refer to in a moment here. Let's finish the food, though. Saffron is another ojas precursor. And I sometimes put raw saffron in my ghee after I've made it still warm. I'll drop some saffron in the ghee, a pinch of it, and it will expand in the ghee and infuse into the ghee. So it's amazing ojas, as well as raw honey, and not pure honey, to be mistaken. If you do pure honey and it's not raw, then you're eating cooked honey, which is extremely toxic and one of the only things that Ayurveda can't remove from the tissues when they're doing panchakarma, which is the purification. So raw honey is highly toxic. Don't cook with it. It should be eaten separately or away from the flame. Okay, medjool dates are delicious. And sometimes I'll put 5 medjool dates in my bottle of ghee. And so I'll have the saffron in there with the dates, and then you let your dates sit there for 14 days and then take them out, and they're soaked in ghee, and it's better than chocolate. Unbelievable. And it will help with anemia if anyone has any iron deficiencies. That will help boost the immunity because it boosts the immune system through iron levels. As well as 2 herbs, and these herbs are shatavari and ashwagandha. So shatavari is an ojas precursor and really good for women. It's also an estrogen precursor and a liver detoxifier. It'll give you that glow and that female shakti.
Can you spell that?
Shatari, shatavari. And you can get that on Amazon through Banyan Botanicals, probably. Either way, go to Banyan Botanicals or go to Amazon, because Banyan's on Amazon. Who isn't on Amazon? Right? And then the other ojas precursor herb is called ashwagandha, and it literally means strength of 10,000 horses. And to back up with the shatavari, it means woman with 1,000 husbands. Yeah, so
I think you need a lot of ojas for that.
For 1,000 husbands. So that's shatavari, and it will balance your hormones and give you all that shakti, good juju that women need. And the ashwagandha, strength of 10,000 horses, is a testosterone precursor. It's also heating. So it could be inflammatory if taken more than 3 months. So take it in short doses and then resume after a month or 2, noticing how your body feels. If you didn't see any inflammation, then go back on it. It's also a ginseng and tonic and will help you sleep better. It's very grounding for trauma and vata. So it's not just for men, it's for everybody. But it will, be a testosterone precursor if your body is lacking in testosterone. And that's the beauty of these herbs, is they don't force hormones into the body. They actually allow the body to make the decision to whether it wants to absorb the hormone or not. So it's not, you're not taking an actual hormone. It gives the body the chance to decide. Okay, so here are some things you can do to increase your ojas. Singing, blissful singing, not just, make up something and sing and it's not really fun. Do the fun singing, and walking in the forest or along the shore, especially after the rain. It's, when it's just fresh like that, that will, and you breathe all that in, that is unprocessed ojas that will become processed in the heart. And then meditation is an amazing ojas remedy. It will build ojas. Being in love, I know you can't force that, and it just, happens a few times in our lifetime, but when we are in love, that you can't bottle that. That is something that causes everyone to glow. And that is ojas itself, being in love. You can, be in love with your cat. Whenever your heart opens and you love someone or an animal, your heart will, the ojas will process, if there's anything unprocessed, it will process what's ever there, and it will spill over into the whole body, and you will begin to glow. So if dogs and cats are what you love the most, I know someone who loves horses, whatever it is that you love, be in the presence of those people so that you can build that ojas. And those animals, I think animals are people. Okay, so being pregnant, and I don't want to go get pregnant just for more ojas, but
there might be some of that happening right now.
I know, COVID babies are coming in 9 months.
We're going to have a baby boom.
Well, so pregnancy does, but after 2 pregnancies, believe it or not, then our ojas levels can deplete as women. So 2 babies and see if you can stop there. Otherwise, that's different for every constitution. If you're a kapha woman and you have a 3rd baby, you're not going to lose ojas. But if you're a skinny mini Vata lady and you've had 10 babies, ojas levels are at risk. Okay, so thinking joyful thoughts. Okay, whatever it is. Sometimes I have my little angel cards, a little deck of cards, or I like to play with the stones, my favorite stone collection. I'll just go and whatever it is that brings you joy, making cookies, whatever it is, find the joyful activity that triggers the bliss in you. And then a warm oil massage is also an ojas remedy. So oil on the skin is amazing for immunity. It will bring strong bones. It will give you a sense of balance and steadiness. It will actually bring protection around you, increase the electromagnetic field so that toxins and pathogens can bounce off you more readily. Even negative people can bounce off you more regularly when your skin has been oiled daily. I do it in the bathtub. It's just sort of a habit. I have a bottle of oil right on the tub, and I'll just, put it on. And sometimes I do it before I get in the tub, but it doesn't take long. And it's a simple but powerful remedy for trauma, anxiety, fear, and in general, too much wind.
What kind of oil?
Good question. So basically sesame oil is tridoshic. And I mean, it can disturb Vata to some degree, but in this case, sesame will be a good choice. I sell these oils on my website. If you want to go look at some of these massage oils, you can look through on KarynChabot.com, but you can use whatever food, an edible oil. You don't want to get a toxic oil. You want cold pressed, organic, food grade oil, and then spice it up with your favorite essential oil. And for grounding, we would want to use sandalwood or orange, something spicy like bergamot, amber, frankincense. What else?
Woody, rich,
earthy, aromatic smells. Cinnamon, clove. So these are things that will help ground you, and you can just put that in your oil and then apply it to the skin. I say, whatever makes you feel grounded when you smell it, use that, because everyone's very different. Okay, now here are the things that burn ojas out, because ojas literally can be burned out. It lives in the heart. So how not to burn ojas out? Here are the things. Too much computer work. The radiation literally, burns the ojas out, and 5G is burning our Mother Earth out and our own bodies out. Too much exercise, profuse sweating. We lose our ojas. Ojas goes out through tears, through reproductive fluid, and sweat. Excessive worrying kills ojas. Insomnia, again, not good. Negative thinking, workaholism, alcoholism, and even excessive sex. I know everyone's bored and we may be having baby boom, but I know this is maybe TMI for some people, but when I studied with Dr. Vasant Lad in the Ayurvedic Institute, he wasn't shy about talking about sex. So it was very eye-opening to me, because I come from, traditional American high school where it was taboo to talk about. So basically, I'll just share with you that if you were born Vata constitution, then sex once probably a week, especially if you're in trauma, because if you lose all that reproductive fluid, you're losing your ojas, right? And that just counteracted all the things we just talked about. But if you're a Kapha woman born with a lot of earth in the body, strong, then you may need to have sex more than another person or a man. But if you're Pitta, which is in the middle, and they have a lot of fire, so they have to be careful because they can also burn their ojas out a little more quickly because they have so much fire. They maybe once or twice a week. But the Kapha people can do it every other day, every day. The Vata people will go down to maybe once a week or once every 2 weeks. Sorry. And then the Pitta people, twice a week, just in moderation. And notice if you start to feel dry, if you feel depleted, don't force that with lubrication or whatever it is, because your body is stressing out to produce the fluids. And I told you that ojas lives in the heart, and then it transforms goes through the kidneys and down into the reproductive organs. And that is how the ojas gets released or wasted if we aren't careful. Okay, so that's that. Now, we also want to share, I want to share with you a chai recipe. So,
I love chai.
I love chai. This is my famous recipe, and it's pretty strong. So I have a little box that I keep in my in my cabinet. And I pull out all the ingredients when it's time. I made it this morning. So I put whole clove. It's not powdered. These are whole. And they look like little worms, actually. And they are anti-parasitic, antibacterial, antimicrobial, antiviral, and they have the highest auric value, which is the highest antioxidant in the entire world. They win the prize.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Even more than, all these people are doing liquid vitamin C injections or whatever. It's clove that wins the prize. So I even recommend not to over supplement food. Let food be your medicine. And this chai is going to be your best medicine, really. But clove from Dr. Clark, I buy it from her website, drclark.org. She makes the best clove capsules that I've found. They are so fresh and pure, and I like her whole gig. So if you want to amp up your antioxidant levels, just use some clove. At the same time, you'll be destroying yeast and candida and all the pathogens within the body. It's a really great detox. Don't overdo, though, because if you're a Pitta person with a lot of fire and you stay on clove over and over for months and months, then you can disturb the fire element. So do it in moderation. So just keep it in check. Maybe a month, go off in a month, watch your body, see how your body reacts. Now I have cinnamon in my little box of chai spices. You can get
cinnamon sticks.
Yeah, so these cinnamon sticks they're not powdered, they're sticks, and they're saline or Ceylon. I can never say that. Seylon. And I bang them with a stone. I have actually a mortar, and by smashing the sticks, I put them in a little plastic baggie or an old bag that, like this one is what my cardamom came in, and I use this as like my smashing bag. So I don't have to waste plastic that way, but this will ignite the essential fatty acids within the cinnamon. So if you're lazy, just throwing the sticks in, you haven't ignited or released the essential fatty acids from the cinnamon. So by smashing them, you're actually doing something. It's very, very powerful. Okay.
Wow.
So yes, it's really important to smash them and release the whatever it is in there, that the magical components, essential fatty acids, probably. Here's Fennel.
And I imagine you can put your intention in there as well, that like when you put love into your food.
Yes.
This is the sideline.
Yes, and while you're smashing your cinnamon, you could be chanting Om Namah Shivaya or Hail Mary full of grace, or a happy little thought, some little mantra that uplifts you, raising the vibration. So this fennel is great for removing gas and digestion. It's great for helping the digestive tract to rejuvenate, as well as cool down, because what I'm showing you here are foods that are going to ignite the digestive fire. So Ayurveda believes in, yes, ojas and longevity, but also a balanced digestive fire, because without the digestive fire, we cannot kill the virus or defend. We have no defense. The fire is our defense. So a lot of us take too many supplements or too many medications, and this destroys digestive fire. So it also, digestive fire goes down for so many other reasons in this culture. So what chai is doing is igniting the digestive fire. So I want to include the fennel so we don't overheat. So the cloves are very heating, the cinnamon's very heating, and the fennel is one of the most cooling, soothing pieces of part of the equation here. Now I have nutmeg. I have whole nutmeg, of course, and you want to smash these as well. And these have opiate-like qualities. Yeah,
that's what I've heard.
You smell so good. So they will give you a happy mood because they have opiate-like constituents within them, especially after you smash them. And I add a whole clove to a big spaghetti pot, and maybe 7 or 8 ounces of water. I'll get the recipe to you. And if you put too much, it's so powerful. It would dominate the concoction. So don't only put one. What are these called? Seeds. Okay, so then we have star anise, and star anise is great for cough. It's amazing for the lungs, and it has a licorice flavor. It's also very soothing. Smells amazing, and it's pretty. So you can decorate them. You could serve your chai after you froth up your milk. You can froth it on an almond milk or macadamia milk, whatever your milk is, or goat milk. And then after you froth it and sprinkled a little cinnamon on top, put a little star anise on top and serve. And it is so pretty. Okay, so I have black pepper. These black peppercorns really give it a kick. And they smell amazing, and they ignite the digestive fire. And they're not the pepper that you have in the shaker. They're the little tiny corns.
Whole peppercorns.
Whole peppercorns. And I don't smash these. You can put them right in the pot. I mean, you can smash them if you want to, but you don't need to with this. You can just put them right in. I also use tulsi, which I didn't bring with me, but I have rose tulsi, which is holy basil. And that's also really great for antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, great for the lungs and respiratory system. Everything here that I've showed you is great for respiratory. And digestive fire is the main key here. And I didn't show you the cinnamon, the ginger. I have fresh raw ginger that I get organic. You can get it on Amazon as well. They send a bag about that big of really nice, very yellow, juicy ginger. Yes, I just got mine yesterday. Yeah, and chop them up fine. And I use, I'll get the whole recipe, but it's about as much as I can fit in my hand. Put it in the concoction in the water, mix everything, and let it simmer for 20 minutes until everything falls to the bottom, and then it's ready. And that's when you pour it into your teacup. You can add some tea if you want. I like Desjardins, and I like English breakfast tea. But you don't have to put any tea if you don't want any caffeine. You can just make it plain, or put some rooibos in it. Rooibos gives it that more full body. I also put some vanilla, powdered vanilla. I left that out.
That sounds really yummy.
Yeah, and cardamom pods. I left that out too. I just ordered some more. I was out of that today. So cardamom pods. All of these have amazing effects on the body. So you want to put the honey in at the end. You don't put the honey in while it's boiling. Remember, you don't cook honey. And so the honey and the milk go in at the end. So I make a little separate pan with my milk, steam it up, froth it. I have a little frother. You can get it for $10 on Amazon. It's a little battery operated frother. It's a lot of fun. Froth the milk. Wow. Yes. And then you can, this is like to me, it gets me out of bed in the morning. I can't wait to have my chai. And it's just really, it's beautiful. So you may as well make it beautiful. And at the same time, it's powerful medicine. So don't overdo it. If you love it so much, you could possibly be igniting too much fire, because we're all about balance here. We want to stay balanced.
Let me make sure, because I'm processing. This whole chai thing could be like a class in itself.
Yeah.
So this chai recipe is really good for not only trauma, like, but it's also good for the antiviral. Not that we're making any kind of medical claims here, but it increases the digestive fire, which it increases your likelihood of burning off whatever is there that feeds the viruses and all of that. And it just sounds like it's like a holistic kind of a thing to really get your life force up and to get moving with it. Now,
Yeah.
how often? You said not often, or don't overdo it. How often do you recommend that someone drinks chai tea? I mean, obviously you don't want to drink it all day after day, right?
Yeah, I've actually done that because I love it so much, and I ended up having inflammation, and my belly was, kicking back, saying no. So I have to stop. Now everyone's going to be different. So I'm high pitta person. I have a lot of fire anyways, so I have to be extra careful. Maybe a kapha person could have more and not have a symptom. So knowing your Ayurvedic constitution is really important. If you start noticing a symptom, you could get like distended stomach, or like I told you, gas, or if you have eczema, it will become worse, or fistula, hemorrhoid. These things can happen if you do too much chai, believe it or not, because it is medicine. And just like anything in life, you can overdo. So I recommend 3 days on and 3 days off. See how you feel after the third day. Go 3 days, try it again. If you think you can do a fourth day, then do 4 days on, 2 days off. You'll have to find your own groove. Go gently and slowly. If you need to reduce the amount of ginger, reduce the amount of. So I'll tell you, some of the culprits are the cardamom and the clove are extremely well. They're all pretty heating, and everyone's going to be different with their sensitivities. When I put too much clove, I notice I get a reaction. So the clove. Remember, I told you it wins the point for the highest auric point. So it's the highest amount of antioxidant. So it is such a powerful food that I think you have to be really careful how much you put in the chai.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the chai, and the whole foundation of Ayurveda is how strong is your Agni and how strong is your Ojas. So strengthen your Agni, which is your digestive fire, without overdoing. That's the key. And strengthen your telomeres and your Ojas by singing, dancing, being more joyful, and eating those Ojas precursor foods without going out of balance, just in moderation. And that ghee recipe with the medjool dates and the saffron, I have it already written down. I should probably include that with the khichdi recipe. The khichdi recipe is super yummy, and you can make that, play with it, add more water, make it softer, however you want. You want to add sweet potato instead, and you could maybe add beets, cooked beets instead of sweet potato to make it more colorful. So play with these things, but choose root vegetables if you're in trauma with khichdi, and do the khichdi. Maybe you try it for 3 days, and that's a beautiful purification. Or maybe you just do it once a week for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Now, there's something else about telomeres, and Western science knows this, that the longer you extend your fast, so break the fast, the longer your telomeres will become. So the longer the telomeres, the better. The more Ojas, the better. So by not eating in the morning and just waiting until noon, it is fantastic. But now these are not protocols for trauma. When we are traumatized, we really need a structured daily routine. And first and foremost, we should eat something that's grounding us. People who are in trauma should not go hungry. So for those people who are not in trauma, then don't eat breakfast, or have just a small piece of fruit in the morning, because that will increase your Ojas and your telomeres. Those who are in trauma, why don't we start off with a piece of fruit in the morning that feels grounded, even though fruit's not very grounding. If you need something more grounding, that's okay. Maybe you have some medjool dates, although the dates are dry. I'm just trying to think of something that would be soft, like a soft
Chai would ground me.
Yeah, like a food. I'm just grasping at like maybe some quinoa cereal, or some kind of I don't really like oats, to recommend oats because there are lectins in oats, which cause leaky gut syndrome. So not an oatmeal, but some kind of like a quinoa meal or a rice cereal would be really grounding. With avocado, maybe you could have a slice of avocado on the side because that is also grounding. Okay, so is there anything else you want to ask me about? Because I have more to share.
Well, we're coming up on the 50-minute mark here, and I'm wondering if anyone who's watching has any questions or comments. So we'll just
Open it up.
allow for that. And as you were talking about the trauma protocol of taking having a structure, and the way that you were describing the day, get up in the morning and do your yoga and have something grounding, it was just so soothing to me. And I imagine that like the projectors, the projector energy types in the room are going, oh wow, this is what I would, this is my life. Because I've noticed in this time being a projector, and you probably have too as well, that there just seems to be a lot more space to do these kinds of self-nurturing things. And as you were talking about, all of the different things that we can feed ourselves, and the chai drink and all of that, it just seems so nourishing. And for those of us who have an inconsistent relationship with life force energy, and we tire out more easily, those of us who are even the manifestors in the room, it seems like we could really benefit from this extra nourishment and nourishing and things that can assist us with our own building our own life force. So, yeah.
I'd like to share a little bit more before we open up for questions that I think is really important and is specific to Ayurveda. So Vata is associated with the quality of dryness. And when we have any disorder in the body, it's usually Vata is the culprit. So let's just sum it up. We all eventually die of dehydration. Call it what you want to call it. You die, you can call it a name, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, or that. Eventually it's really dehydration. So to stay hydrated is extremely important, as well as lubricating the membranes. So lubrication is very important. Why I told you to do the massage to yourself, the self oil massage. But this is a swishing oil. And some of you have heard of oil pulling. And the oil pulling is lubricating the membranes and gargling with it. And this COVID virus gets stuck in the throat and in the nose membranes before it goes to the lungs. But if you keep your membranes moist, basically you're creating a preventative measure where you're blocking all little crevices, because when things are dry, they open, the membranes get irritated, they become more vulnerable and open in their little crevices and cracks. So we want to lubricate and keep everything very smooth inside the membranes, in the nose and in the mouth. That's why swishing the oil, retaining it, and then gargling, and there are essential oils in this. You can buy it on my website too. It has peppermint and other constituents that will boost immunity in the membranes. Now there's another thing here called Nassia oil, and I sell this as well. And you put 5 drops
in your nose.
Yes,
I love that stuff.
And then you sniff it in, and it brightens the eyes, removes headache, increases memory and intelligence.
And if you get a massage from her, you get that in your nose.
I would put 5 drops in your nose. Well, I might start with 1 just in case, and you're, freaked out about putting oil in your nose.
If you want it.
Of course, I always ask. Everybody who tries it comes back and asks for it. So this will also remove sinus conditions, any kind of, chronic sinus problems. This dissolves like. So it's mucus that gets trapped in toxins in the sinus cavities. When you put this oil, this is not just regular oil, it has all kinds of really amazing things in it. It will actually dissolve the toxins and mucus within the sinus cavities and calm the nervous system. It's a remedial measure for central nervous system grounding. So it looks like this. You just apply 5 drop, put your head back. It's that simple. And you sniff it in like that, and your ears might pop, but it goes deep and your eyes will just light up, and it has eucalyptus in it, and it's one of the only essential oils that's known to kill the cold virus. So it feels amazing, and then you just want to keep it always hydrated and lubricated with this as well. So I might apply this first.
Mm-hmm.
It goes deep in the nose, squirt, it goes all the way out the mouth. So you purify first, then you lubricate. Okay, now we can open up to questions.
Yeah. I'm not seeing any. So
well,
maybe
I could talk about these remedies that I wrote to you. I can talk about sipping warm, hot water throughout the day. It's really, if that's the only thing you do and the only thing you get out of this whole video, and you just sip warm water throughout the day, that's the best thing you can do.
Okay, so let's look at this, because I've heard about that particular thing, like online with preventing the getting the coronavirus and all of that. What is the Ayurvedic perspective on that? With when you say to sip water all day, what are you talking about?
It keeps the body in a constant detoxification state. So what it does is when you drink cold, it constricts. When you drink warm, the vessels open, things can start moving and flowing. And when we have disease, it's usually because the body has stagnated. There's some kind of stuckage, if that's a word. That's a word now. But if you open the vessels and keep things flowing, then you're good to go. Your immune system and all things will start working. As soon as things get constricted and get stuck is when disease happens. Does that make sense? So yes. Warm water is key, and ice water is what maybe on hot tropical summer day, but that's the only time you ever would want to drink ice water. Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's talk about these quickly, these modalities.
Yeah, okay. Judy says more remedies. so remedies? Bring them on out. I'm going to try to keep it to an hour. So go. You got about 3 minutes.
So daily oil massage, you got that. If someone else can do it to you, all the better. But if you have to do it to yourself, then you just put the oil right on. More hugs. It's critical to get hugs. And if you can't get a hug because you're all alone, and I live alone, my cat hugs me all day long.
Yeah, we're doing 6 feet apart. So
6 feet apart. So you can hug your cat and your dog. And I love hugging my cat. My cat actually puts his arms up and asks for a hug. It's the cutest.
Mine does too.
I love it. My heart just melts. Okay, so soupy, warm, moist foods. I'm going quickly. Foods cooked with love and mantra or prayer. Read inspiring quotes. Keep your angel card deck out, or a book that inspires you, and read daily something that inspires you. Keep a nightlight on while you're sleeping, because fear can build upon fear, just the way pain builds upon pain. If you're sleeping in the dark and you're afraid, keep a nightlight on. Sleep on soft mattress, because anything hard, including food that you eat, surfaces that you lay on, even food, sweaters that have hard, rough, woolly, itchy, not good. Soft mattress is critical. Soft yoga mat, soft couch. Think of soft food. Okay, heavy blankets, and wear socks in the winter. Oh, more weight on you is going to pacify the trauma, because the weight is actually the earth element, which will reduce the wind. Okay, now we go on, and gentle floor yoga. We talked about that. Surrounding yourself with soft, warm colors, earth colors, earth tones. Listening to soft, soothing music. We already talked about the essential oils of amber, sandalwood, ginger, holy basil. Cook with generous amounts of ghee. I almost covered everything here. The herbal drops in the nose, swish in the mouth, gentle. Oh, I didn't talk about this. So this is a little sometimes TMI as well, but an enema, believe it or not, for trauma protocols, it's recommended and indicated twice a week to use those little fleet enemas with a little bit of sesame oil.
Really?
Yeah. The sesame oil will feed the friendly bacteria, because you can lose friendly bacteria through too many enemas, but the oil will feed the friendly bacteria. So do it on an empty stomach first thing in the morning, because the colon is the seat of wind. seat of Vata. It's the home. And when we have too much too much ether and air, too much wind in the colon, because it's the seat of wind. When we add the water element and the unctuous properties of oil, it balances the colon. Amazing. And it will redirect the downflow in the body, which grounds us, because there are 5 directional flows in the body. And sometimes when we're in trauma, the flow that grounds us to the earth has gone up, and it's no longer redirecting us. So the enema will actually reignite the intelligence in the body, the flow that goes downwards, because you'll have a bowel movement. And part of having trauma is, you've heard of the term scared shitless. It's constipation is one of the remedies, one of the consequences of being in trauma. So warm, not cold, something with a little oil in it, maybe a tablespoon or 2 in one of those little fleet bottles of enema bottles, without a full stomach at all, because you'll interfere with digestion when you do an enema when your stomach is full. Okay, so
that I'm not a fan of the thought of enemas, but in terms of energetics, that makes a lot of sense, because when I work with people who are ungrounded, I'm always working with their energy to get them to ground their root chakra.
Yes.
And, and that makes a lot of sense in the downflow of the energy.
Yes.
So I'm a little squeamish about the enema part, but I totally get the energetics of it.
Yes. If it doesn't resonate, then don't do it, because if you have such incredible fear around doing an enema, then you're just making everything worse. These are just one of the things that, if you don't have a lot of fear and you're open, that this will be great medicine for you, is to do it once a week. Yes, until you are grounded. And even if you're having regular bowel movements, it is really good protocol for removing fear and anxiety and uncertainty. Okay, we're almost done. So sleep by 10 a.m. This is really important. This is where I struggle, but sleeping by 10 a.m. will help your whole body to rebalance itself. As soon as we go past the 10 a.m., and that's a little different for everybody, between 10 and 11, but 10 is a good start. After 11, then we go into liver, and organs can't really heal, and we start depleting kidney energy. And so it's really important to go to bed on time. And when I lived in Fairfield, Iowa, they had a funny expression that we would miss the angel train. Instead of saying, go to bed by 10, you're going to miss the angel train if you don't go to bed by 10. So everybody in that town knew that you were, because Maharishi taught Ayurvedic principles to the transcendental meditation people of Fairfield. So everybody on the angel train.
I remember when I was out there teaching quantum touch classes with you, it was, we would go, I remember the time when we went to like the ball, what was it? It was swing dancing class.
Yes.
And I looked up, and at 9:30, everybody was leaving.
Oh yeah, they're serious. They aren't going to miss the angel train. Everybody,
so funny.
The whole town shut down at 10 a.m. And it also went into meditation at 5 p.m. Everybody would go to the domes for meditation, and it was pretty, actually, really amazing experience. Okay, so we're looking at the rest of these. Eating alone, I told you not to do that. Don't watch the news and the media. Don't obsess on it, because this will bring you down. So just do a little news fast or a media fast. And these gemstones will help ground you, and you can wear them on a pendant or on your hand, or touching the skin in an earring. And those are red coral, topaz, sapphire, citrine, turquoise, and onyx.
Nice.
Okay. Yes, these are grounding stones. And another really amazing remedy is sleeping on your right side, because what that does is shut off all the vessels on the right side, open up the left side, which is the moon side of the body, and reduces all the fire and worry and angst to calm you down. So it's just, if you can't sleep and you're struggling with insomnia, turn to your right side. Okay, pranayama, go Google that, pranayama, and or YouTube it and get instructions. It's really powerful. Let's see. I think
this sounds like what you're going down, the list that you're going down now sounds like the perfect recap to everything that you've shared with us. So.
Yeah, it is like a recap.
Yeah, and I'm going to do my best within my tech parameters to get those documents that list that you sent to me up with these videos, this video, so that people can download them or have them, or if you have them somewhere and you have a link to it and you want to share it, that would be great.
Okay, well, I don't have everything organized into one link, but so they're all separated right now, but I can send them to you as well as post them on my Facebook timeline. Yeah. Okay.
Great.
The last thing I want to say is if you can avoid caffeine while you're in trauma, because caffeine will disturb your immune system, as well as if you're going to drink alcohol, don't overdo it. What Dr. Ladd recommends is a half a glass of wine before dinner and a half a glass of wine after dinner for optimum digestion and relaxation. So everything in moderation. Food is medicine, and you can have wine, but if there's a lot of histamines in wine, so there are things you can buy. I get these wands on Amazon that you stick in the wine, and it will help remove histamines and sulfites and all the toxins, so that you can actually enjoy the wine without having adverse reaction to the toxins in the wine. And the actual alcohol reduces the ether and air wind elements. It does calm the body, but if you do more than a half a glass at once, will disturb sleep at night.
Yes. So red wine, white wine, this is very important to me. Right?
Yeah. Well, red wine disturbs pitta just a little bit more for people who are high pitta, high fiery people. But it also has a lot of antioxidants in it. So it also will help ignite digestive fire. So everyone's going to be a little different, which is better for who. So the question is, when I used to raise my hand in class at the Ayurvedic Institute, he would always come back and say, for who? So we never got the, cookie cutter answer. So the cookie cutter answer for that isn't going to be, everyone should have red wine. So it depends on, are you more fiery? If you are, then choose white wine. If you need more digestive fire, and the red wine would be a little more grounding, and it will also be beneficial for digestion.
Good to know. Good to know. Well, good. And I'm so glad you included wine on that list.
Right?
I'm surprised, actually,
well,
because I think of Ayurvedic principles as being like vegetarian and no alcohol and no this, and I'm so glad you added that piece. So that's really great. Well, thank you so much for sharing your deep wisdom with us.
And you're so welcome.
Yes.
My pleasure. I love doing this with you. So nice to just be in your company.
Yeah, it's same here. Same here. I've been waiting for the right moment and the right whatever it is for us to get on and do something together. So I hope that everyone who is watching this or who will watch this will get a lot of value and a lot of information that you can take back and share with the people in your lives who may be in trauma. And the things that you shared, really, a lot of them seem very helpful, regardless of whether or not you're in trauma, just to bring that balance back into the body, to maintain your life force, to keep your telomeres, your longevity going, and all of that. And I found that very, very interesting. So Judy says thank you both for your information, and Joe B was here. Thank you for showing up, and thank you, Dorothy, for showing up, and they all say nice to meet you. Hello. So I forgot to.
Nice to meet you all too.
Yeah.
Oh, I see you now. I just moved over to the live comments and see.
Oh, great.
And Joe and Dorothy, Judy, and so thank you for saying thank you, and I'm happy to meet you.
Yes, and if you want to know more about Karyn's services or more about Karyn does other things. She reads playing cards and can tell you stuff about yourself. It's and your relationships. It's really amazing. So maybe we'll have her on for that at some point. She's a Vedic astrologer, all of that stuff. So there are opportunities here if you really enjoyed Karyn's presence and her wisdom for her to share more. So KarynChabot.com, or if you want to check out her Ayurvedic a whole certification program, isn't it? It's a whole training and
it's a certification program online.
It's at sacredstone.com.
Sacredstonehealing.com.
Sacredstonehealing.com. And there, you did give me the link here, and I have no idea how to put it up. So, Sacredstone.
I don't know how to put it up either.
Just if you Google sacredstonehealing.com and Ayurveda Health Counselor Program, it will come up. I'm sure it will.
I'm sure it will. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I'll try to make sure I get all of those links on for those of you who are interested. Karyn, thank you so very much for your presence, your wisdom, your healing expertise. I know that throughout the decades you've been a role model and a support for me, literally, you know, at times under your steam tent and your stones and if you ever get to Newport, Rhode Island, I know your schedule for massage is very limited now, but if you ever get to Newport, Rhode Island, try to get on Karyn's schedule for her sacred stone massage. She was the pioneer in hot stone massage, and it is an amazing, it is an event. Let's put it that way. So, and I miss them.
Oh, I miss giving them to you. Maybe you'll come visit me sometime in Newport.
At some point, when we get past the sheltering in place, you know,
right?
We'll do that. We'll definitely, I'll get there at some point. So
it'll happen.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for showing up. I'm going to close it out, and there will be more to come. Everyone stay safe, stay healthy, stay balanced, and be as joyful as you possibly can. So take care, everyone. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Bye, Sandy.